We're going to bring in our first guest. I've had her on the show before on the podcast. I interviewed her at the People Summit. Really great, progressive, Paula Jean Swearengin, and she is running for the Senate in West Virginia. Hi.
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Good,
Paula
you?
Jean, I gotta ask. I'm sure you get this all the time. Are you related to Al Swearengin of Deadwood fame?
Actually, it's my ex-husband's name. My maiden name is Foley, but nobody's related.
Nobody's related. Okay, that's good. Well, it's good you wouldn't want to be related to an ex-husband.
No, that'd be weird.
Good, yeah. Tell us what you are up to. Congratulations on winning your primary. Tell us how that happened and what that felt like.
Well, the campaign's up to a lot. I'm really proud of the team that we have. Winning our primary, if you told me 15 years ago that I'd be the Democratic nominee for United States Senate, I'd probably laughed at you. But, I've evolved throughout the years as a mom and activist to get to this point. And it's just because it's necessary. No matter how much we protest or, I've spoke to the United Nations, I've lobbied, I've done everything that I could for clean water, clean air, and economic diversity in our state. It went on deaf ears. And that's why I ended up running for office. We see all kinds of candidates, locally here in West Virginia and across the country, running for office because it's important. We need a government of the people, by the people, for the people, and not people in Congress that are working on bipartisan efforts to serve their corporations and lobbyists is what it boils down to. But our campaign, when people say, oh, gosh, you're going against a lot of dark money, how are you going to raise money? I can say I'm really humbly and incredibly proud. We've had so many people to endorse and step up, and so many West Virginians that, have had to leave the state because there are no job opportunities to donate and volunteer for the campaign. We have raised over $1 million. The average donation has been $26.30. And we almost outraised my opponent last quarter, who has over $3 million in her campaign coffers and less than 2% in individual donations. And I just can't thank everybody enough that has been so supportive. We sent over 80,000 texts last week. We have a comprehensive digital marketing team. We have over 12 people on staff. Most of our staff and volunteers are West Virginians. And my campaign manager, he's in an adjoining county from mine in the coal fields. I'm from Wyoming County. He lives in Logan County. He's a black hat coal miner and a trucker. And we're stigmatized, especially in the coal fields, that we don't have no teeth, no shoes, and no brains. And I'm absolutely beyond proud of my team because we've showed face and said we do have teeth, shoes, and brains. Yeah. And we have a good solid chance of flipping this seat, especially when you look at the dynamic of what's going on in West Virginia. We have more Democrats than Republicans registered. Democrats and independents than Republicans. But it's not really about partisan politics. It's about people surviving and having true representation for the change. We've had so many Republicans come into the fold. We've even had like the Dominion Post. They are a paper in Mon County, West Virginia, and they are very conservative. And they not only endorse this campaign, but they've really come out for the campaign because West Virginians want the same things. They want economic diversity. We want long-term solutions to the addiction epidemic. We want health care. We want something as basic as a clean glass of water. We want adequate sewage systems. We want comprehensive broadband. We hear my opponent, Shelley Moore Capito, talking about Capito Connect. She's been in the Senate for 5.5 years, and it really shows how disconnected she is. She's wanting to sell us out to the highest bidder like she always has and privatize it when we've seen state and federal funding go into broadband, and it's never been implemented because a lot of these companies have spent the money out of state. And so we have people working on legislation to make sure that we do have federal and state legislation that would privatize it because it ties into our infrastructure, our educational system, our communications, so many things. So many things that are needed here in West Virginia. It's one of the sickest and poorest states in the nation. But West Virginia has really rose up. I mean, I think that we've been underestimated. This is the heart of labor. We have the blood of our ancestors in our veins. Mother Jones, Joe Hill, the mothers of Blair Mountain, Matewan. We seen it in 2018 during the teacher strike when we led the teacher strike across the country. Nobody talked about party affiliation. Nobody was working on bipartisan efforts to serve corporations and lobbyists. West Virginians stood up together. And we've seen it this time in the 2020 election. We led the charge in 2018, but we really led the charge here in 2020. We had 93 candidates on a slate called the West Virginia Can't Wait slate that swore off corporate PAC dollars. 43 of those candidates won their primaries, ordinary West Virginians, and it's exciting because it's ever since women have been voting for 100 years, West Virginia made history with this primary. Every Democratic nominee, 1st Congressional District, the 2nd, the 3rd, United States Senate, we are all women, we're all progressive, and none of us take corporate and corporate PAC dollars. My opponent was the first woman to be elected to the United States Senate to represent the state of West Virginia. She's a mother and grandmother, and people underestimate how united West Virginians are. I've worked for so many issues across the state, like in Hayden City, they're dealing with a water crisis. And it was mothers leading the charge in Hayden City. It wasn't, Democrat or Republican. It was women setting to get, working together. And I worked with those women. Some of them were Republican. One thing you don't do in Appalachia is mess with our young, because women are going to come out of the belly of beast kicking and screaming. And now we have 4 women that are ready to bust the halls of Congress wide open and making sure that West Virginia and every child across the country has a fighting chance. And we have a seat at the table in Washington, D.C.
When you mentioned, we have our teeth, it's so disturbing that people just openly make jokes about class and health that way, in a way that they, I'm not saying, you do have your teeth. There are people who have their teeth. There are people who don't have their teeth. But this kind of like mockery and stigmatization of people if they don't have the perfect teeth, wherever they are. But like the idea that that's something that people should be looked down upon, as opposed to something that we should be ashamed of as a problem in this country.
Well, divide and conquer is an age-old strategy. Right. If we have health care, then we can fix our teeth. So,
yeah.
And that's just the thing. It's to keep us divided and keep us downtrodden. And, West Virginians, we're called racist and red, and we're probably the most hospitable people in the world.
Yeah.
We have, like I said, more Democrats and independents registered in the state. But I know a lot of people that are Republicans, and we don't have to agree on everything. But most West Virginians that I know, we believe in a moral compass of treating people respectfully and equally. And also, we take care of each other. We've always taken care of each other. And we are some of the most hospitable people in the world. But, it's, you can talk about people in other states when you're not really there. And, we hear from the media. If the media comes into West Virginia, they try to pick the worst person to amplify just to make us look bad. And that's just not the case. West Virginians are some of the most beautiful people I've ever met.
And can you tell us what it was like? You were the daughter of a coal miner, the niece of a coal miner, the stepdaughter of a coal miner, and the granddaughter of a coal miner. What how that informed your politics and your view of the world, and shaped your campaign? Well,
I'm a proud coal miner's daughter, but because I am, most of my family's been worked in the industry. I've been more funerals than I have family reunions. The Industrial Revolution was built on the backs of Appalachians, their families, and surrounding communities. And when people turn on their light switch, it's because of the blood of Appalachians. And when I was a little girl, I drank acid mine drainage. Our water was blue with a purple film, had specks of metal in it. Until my stepdad got laid off in the coal mines and we moved to North Carolina for a while, I didn't know I wasn't a redhead until I was 12 years old and had access to clean water. Wow. And we came back home to help take care of my grandfather, and I found out people still didn't have access to clean water. With the boom and the bust of the market, I know what it's like to go hungry when the market for coal is down. And we still hear it as a political talking point, but coal's been declining since the 70s. And one of the cruelest lies that any politician can tell that is coal is going to rebound. It's not going to happen for us anymore. There's too many competing markets. We had over 140,000 coal miners in the 70s. We have less than 50,000 nationwide. It's on its way out, and there's no just transition. And that's why I got in this fight, because I've seen, not only did this industry come in here and get rich off our backs and pull the rug out from underneath us, but they had no care for miner safety. With the Upper Big Branch mining disaster, everybody was saying it's going to happen. And those men didn't walk out because they knew it was going to happen. There was no ventilation in that mine. But when you worry about where your next meal is going to come from anyway, and if you speak out and you're going to be blacklisted, you're going to do everything to protect your job. I know as a mother, I cut off my legs for my children and grandchildren, so I get it. But our representatives let it happen. And they let them destroy our water and destroy our air. And we hear jobs, jobs, jobs. But we don't hear any talk about a plan B for anybody in Appalachia. It's still just this political pandering, all these empty promises, and they're never fulfilled. And people in the southern coal fields, they're living in impoverished conditions comparable to a third world country. I know people that have cardboard for windows. Even out in the northern panhandle, with Weirton Steel, with a decline in coal, the steel market is down and Weirton is going bankrupt, and those people are struggling. And people are struggling all across the state. And there's nobody doing anything about it. And that's why you see an uprising in Appalachia and West Virginia, because we're sick and tired of being collateral damage. And we need to get back to the intent of this country, of the people, by the people, for the people, and create a government that actually serves the people. We don't have to agree on everything. And if we hang on to the two-party system, we need to make sure that people are making sincere efforts to be public servants and making decisions for the people that they are supposed to serve, instead of corporations and lobbyists. And if these people are not going to do their jobs, they need to know we're going to hold them accountable. And we're going to come after their jobs, because we can't go, West Virginia can't go through this much longer. We don't have a plan B. People are dying and starving here, but it's also happening across the country. And people are seeing that our government is not serving us anymore, and we have to do something about it.
Can you clarify what you meant about the red hair?
Well, my hair was orange. It was red. It was dyed red from our water. And until I had access to clean water, I didn't realize I was a brunette.
That's really, wow.